What's going on, everyone? It is your boy, Dustin, Crustin, however you want to know me, that's me. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to like the video. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be reviewing MisFit Athletics programming. I followed them for about a year and a half, and I have recently switched up. We'll go into that later at some other point, but basically I want to give my thoughts and opinions on their programming overall. I have some notes on my phone that I'm going to be looking at, that way I can make sure I don't forget anything, but I'm sure I still will. MisFit Athletics is a big, I would say a big name in the CrossFit space. They've had a variety of different games athletes to include Shannon Smith, Carolyn Spencer, Paige Semenza, the list goes on because there's been quite a few and they keep it going, you know what I'm saying? They even have some that aren't just individual, they've also had teens and masters, so like they cover the variety, and they've been doing it for a hot minute. I don't want to necessarily forget anyone, but I'm not going to act like I know everyone that they have had. They do a podcast, they do freaking social media, obviously, they have a Discord. MisFits is legit. So in terms of pricing, they're about average. They're $40 a month. When I first joined, they were not. If you do pay for a year in advance, which is what I had done, it comes out to about $35 a month, something like that. It is nice because even if you decide to change, then you still have it for that year because you already did pay for it, so that's cool. Or pay monthly, 40 bucks. A lot of programs are right there with it, so it's not like it's asking too much more versus another programming offer. They do give their programming in advance. You get a whole week in advance, which I feel is super convenient because they can help you plan out things, like whether it be like, you know, for example, Monday you're not going to be in the gym for as long as you thought you were going to be, so really you have to change like your Thursday active recovery with your Monday, and that way you can actually fit all the sessions in, whatever the case may be. It is nice to see all of your options right there laid out, that way you can go ahead, look in advance, and figure out what exactly you're going to be doing for platform that they are on. So they're using Fitter. That's a little bit newer for them. They were using Beyond Whiteboard when I first joined. That's another reason why I had joined them, because Beyond Whiteboard is what I know, it's what I'm comfortable with, it's what CrossFit Krypton uses, and that's obviously where I started, so I like that familiarity that I was able to bring. They also have it on their own actual main site, that's pretty convenient and dope. Then of course the coolest thing, I'll touch more on this later, but the coolest thing is that you can find not necessarily like the program written out, but like people in the Discord that follow the programming and see like what they've done, if they had modified those kind of things. So basically I'm going to say Fitter, main site, and I guess you can even say Discord because people are posting what they've done, that kind of thing. Their main site actually offers a lot of different things to include. Call them weakness templates, and basically it was like, okay, here's this list of skills that people have been known to struggle with, and basically like what we're going to do is we're going to lay it out in a format that you can insert it into your training to help you work on these weaknesses as you go on. On main site they also, I said main site as if they're their own CrossFit.com. They kind of are. It's kind of sick. They literally have blogs that have been going for a hot minute. You can literally go back and look at anyone from any point in time, and they reference them pretty frequently in their podcast, which is another topic. They go over all their phases in podcasts, which I think is a sick concept because it basically breaks down your why as far as what you're doing, how you're going to be doing it, what to expect, those kind of things. That's super cool of them to provide that ahead of time. That way you can listen to it, get dialed in, know what to expect, and then once it comes time, you're like, okay, they mentioned this, and maybe this is where I need to put more emphasis on. It's on YouTube and such, and obviously podcasts, but you can then like comment, interact with them, and get feedback as well. So that's super cool. How it's broken down. What they've done for the while I was there, which obviously this is always open to change based on however they feel they need, because I know that they said they've been like updating it as it goes, just to like what they have found works best. They do season or phases following the CrossFit Games season, and then basically for majority of their athletes, they know they're not moving on past quarterfinals, which is majority of the athletes in general, so like that's not shady or anything like that. They then have like a break-off point to where it's like, hey, follow this specific track, that way you can get the programming you need. And it's like, if you moved on, follow this, that way you stay like on track with that. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get you started and get like working on what you need to work on to improve, to do better in quarterfinals, open, semis, etc., etc. So like, it is super cool that they do provide that as an option. It's not just a, you didn't make it, I'm sorry, you're still following the programming with everyone else. As I mentioned on the podcast, how it's also listed on YouTube. They have a bunch of things on YouTube that also go over like movement demos, which is super cool to have. That way if you ever like are uncertain, like they give you tips on efficiency, and they break down movements that way you can know actually how to do them. They do have their own clothing line, as you can see as I'm wearing right here. It's called Sharpen the Axe. Since making this video, I just recently went to their site, and there isn't anything other than like a Kiala Foundation donation, which is interesting because I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I just haven't paid enough attention, but it is not currently available. But I still want to include this because it was something very big with the brand, so I'm going to leave it in. I don't know if it's a temporary thing or a permanent thing, but it's not actually available. So just keep that in mind. And they also got some pretty sick clothing for good prices. And so another thing that's actually really cool about their clothing line is their athletes have codes that obviously give you a discount, but those codes generate a commission for those athletes to help them travel, like for games or for competitions or for just anything along those lines. Like, for example, Carolyn Spencer was on a team for CrossFit Krypton, so obviously she had to travel back and forth all the time. That obviously is going to add up in terms of price. Paige Simmons had to travel to go to the games from where they at Maine. It obviously adds up because CrossFit isn't paying for that. Those kind of things are super rad that they have that offered. That way it really does help out their athletes. It's like just like another layer of additional benefits for them, which is super sweet. Definitely not something that's offered by everyone. They have their supplement line, which also has athlete codes. So immediately you already know that's commission for the athletes, which is super sick. They really dive deep into what ingredients like do what for you and how it actually like affects you. So their supplement line is very science-based and it's super sick. They didn't just go with the generic, like, let's get all the best tasting proteins we can, you know, because like it's like, okay, everyone knows you need protein, that just is what it is. But let's talk about your carbs, let's talk about your replenishment as far as hydration and such. So I think that's super cool they took that approach to it. I want to go in and then also talk on my favorite thing about them is the Discord. You build a sense of community with everyone else that's doing it. You get access to all of the coaches all of the time. They're very responsive. They literally have a whole thread just for questions, and then like you can also ask people that's in it that are doing the same programming to ask them how they felt, like what they substituted, those kind of things. It builds a great sense of camaraderie between everyone, and it's just something that's super rad for the community. From switching, that's the thing I miss the most because I had plenty of people to talk to. I had plenty of people that had ideas, and then also I could get any feedback basically at any time. I highly suggest you guys check it out. It's free to everyone, so like you're more than welcome to hop in there at any time. Now the only things I did not like, because gotta show all angles. For me, I get overwhelmed with choice. It's like choice paralysis, right? So whenever there's so many different pieces, I'm like, I don't know what to pick. And yes, you are pointed in the direction of which way to go, but I still see all these other ones and it's like, this is optional, this is optional, this is optional. I'm like, what do I do? Because I'm more so like, tell me what I need to do, I'll get it done, period. That actually really like hindered me a lot. I frequently just got overwhelmed and would like be just looking at the pieces on my phone for much longer than what I should have, whereas I could have just been training that time instead of sitting in the gym literally looking at it. So that's on me, but I will say that that is just something that I just didn't personally enjoy. It is sick of them to have all the options, but is it too many? For me it was, but it is nice to have all that. And like I said, they do guide you in which direction you should go, like whether you need to focus on strength, whether you need to focus on conditioning, those kind of things. Like it's not like you're just blindly thrown in, but for me it was just a lot. Another thing that I don't feel like I was lifting as much, and that is where I feel my biggest hole is with lifting. So I mean, I'm not saying we didn't lift, especially if you're following strength track, then you're doing like 2 lifts a day. I did make tremendous freaking progress. Like if you look at my back squats, before I started, my 1 rep was, I think it's either 275 or 285. By the time I had left, 315 was my 1 rep, and I had done 3 reps at 310. So the progress was definitely there, and it's not like I didn't get stronger. I just personally felt like maybe I should have been doing more Olympic lifting, potentially. That's not to say that they didn't get us stronger, because they undoubtedly did. Overall, I would recommend MisFits. I think super sick, and again, like, the community they have is real. Like, it's so real, and I love that. Like I said, it's the biggest thing I miss about them. And yeah, I forgot a few things I want to throw in right now. One of the other dislikes, and this is honestly probably the biggest dislike, is Fitter. I don't like the platform. I feel like Beyond the Whiteboard had more like accessibility and like options. I don't know, that's a personal thing, but it is what it is. If I had to give the programming a rating, I would honestly probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me guys know what you think. If you tried out MisFits, let me know your thoughts. If you're doing something different, what are you doing and how do you feel about it? I will be letting you guys know where I'm at in a little bit after I have some time to try the program I'm currently on. And with all that being said, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you send it to your friends. Make sure you comment down below and subscribe while you're at it. Much love. Peace.